This is Dauntless 1.13.3. There are a lot of 3s in this one, 3 new cells, Gauntlet Season 3, and there are 3 kinds of hunt passes. Almost as many 3s as Steph Curry. But let's go over this big update that's coming out tomorrow. Drop a like for me, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, let's get into it. For starters, we have a massive quality of life update here, and it's the 20 level XP bank. On the Slayer's Path, you'll be able to unlock and upgrade your XP bank as you complete more reforges. The first node is the standard 6 level one that we had previously. The second will increase the number of levels in the XP bank to 10. It will be 13 levels at tier 3, 16 levels at tier 4, and finally the 20 level XP bank at tier 5. These nodes will cost combat merits, rams, and a heroic merit per each upgrade, and you'll need to complete a certain number of reforges before each. To fully unlock the 20 level XP bank, you will need to have 8 reforges in total. This is a fantastic feature for those who don't want to reset their weapon level, and it actually works like a prestige system now. We'll have to see if going back to the lower levels will even be faster at all at this point, because Blazeworks or Gauntlet mode at level 20 might be faster. But now that we have 20 level XP banks, all we need is customizable reforge badges. Like, just do it, Phoenix Labs, please. But now, onto Gauntlet Season 3. Just like last season, there are unique titles for Gauntlet participation this season. For guilds who've completed 1 level, we have the Undaunted title. For guilds who end the season in the top 100, we get the Fearless title. And for guilds who end the season in the top 5, you will receive the Indomitable title. There are also 2 brand new round modifiers for this season, and these ones are kind of interesting. The first is Push and Pull, which will basically apply the hunger effect to every weapon. You'll continuously take damage, but gain 5% lifesteal. And the other modifier is called Exhaustion. When you're at full health, you'll deal 50% more damage. But when you're missing any health, you'll deal 50% decreased damage. These modifiers effectively force you to play any Omnicell other than Revenant. So this Gauntlet season is mainly going to be Discipline meta, which is cool. Honestly, make these a trial modifier every now and then. But these modifiers are on the individual levels, so they will be present in every Gauntlet cycle, on almost every level. And let's quickly go over what these cycles and levels are going to look like. Every level is going to have decently challenging behemoths. There is no one level that is just plain easy. But there are, of course, still easier levels due to which behemoths you will see. Most levels will only have 1 or 2 elements in them, which bringing the right element against those will make them easier. Levels 11, 12, and 13 are the only levels that have 0 modifiers, so those should be the easiest. And those and level 14 are just about the only ones you can even run Revenant on, because any other level is going to have the Push and Pull or Exhaustion modifier on at least one of the fights. And level 20 of all of the cycles this time should be easier than last season. It's once again the legendary behemoths, but this time the regular non-heroic versions. And they will have the Exhaustion or Push and Pull modifier, so you will be forced to not use Revenant here. So based on that, I don't believe the teams are going to get stuck on some version of level 20 like they did in Season 2. But taking a look at the cycles and their modifiers, cycle number 1 is normal, cycles 2 through 8 are Weapon Master modifiers, cycle 9 reduces time and gives Stonehide, cycle 10 has the Planar Voyage modifier, which will give you and the team some cool buffs for interacting with it. Cycle 11 has Tough Hide, cycle 12 and 13 will see increased scaling and lower time, cycles 14 through 20 will be Weapon Masters again, then Stonehide, Planar Voyage, and 23 being Deep Freeze and Tough Hide, and then 24 through 30 will be Weapon Masters again. And I think cycle 31 or 32 is going to be the final cycle that any guild will get to. We will have crazy scaling at this point, and only 4 minutes and 30 seconds at the start of the hunt with the Deep Freeze modifier. But if we all get past that, then we have Vitality on cycle 32, which I don't think would be possible. But just taking a look at it, I do think we'll get farther than last season. And speaking of last season, the currency you earned is going to go away at the start of Season 3 tomorrow. It will again be converted to the Crumbling Crests, which will let you still buy items in the Last Chance section of the store, which will be there for 2 weeks. And this time they did add weapon trackers to the Last Chance tab. So any weapon trackers and any of the cells that were available in Season 2 will be available here. But if you want the weapon trackers or cells from Season 3, you will need to get the new currency. And there are going to be 2 new new weapon trackers for Season 3. The Heroic Escalations Completed tracker will count how many heroic escalations you've done with that weapon. And the Patrol Chests Open tracker will tell you how many patrol chests you opened with that weapon. And you are probably wondering about the new cells for Season 3. They are somewhat interesting. One will make the off-meta sturdy users happy, another could be somewhat meta, and the other one will be decent. It could make Bastion builds actually better DPS than Tempest builds in some cases. So not meta, but decent. These new cells are a defense, power, and technique cell, named Water, Earth, and Fire. Water is a defense cell that, after dodging through an attack, you'll take reduced damage from the next attack and be immune to stagger from it. At +3, it's a 30% damage reduction, and at +6, it's a 100% damage reduction. And this will apply to the next time you would get hit within 45 seconds of the dodge. And this is a pure damage reduction, not a reduction formula, so you actually do take 0 damage from that attack. However, it doesn't protect you from the attack's status effects that it inflicts, like the wounded or the chilled status effects. But otherwise, it's basically sturdy, but you don't take damage at all. And there's no actual cooldown on it, but you will have to dodge to get the effect though. Next up is Fire, the new technique cell, and it's pretty darn good. You'll gain attack and movement speed at the cost of losing health each time you hit a behemoth. At +3, it's 10% attack speed, 15% movement speed, and at +6, it's 20% attack speed and 30% movement speed. But for these, you'll lose 3% of your max health at +3 for each time you hit the behemoth, and at +6, it will be 5% of your max health. So this means you'll lose 55 HP per hit when you have 1100 HP. But one thing to note is that it can't kill you, so you don't necessarily have to run it with Iceborne. You'll just have a very low amount of HP. And there is something a little weird going on with it right now, but Aurelia said she doesn't mind it, at least right now. So once you get down to enough HP where the next weapon hit would kill you, the cell will stop dealing damage to you. And this includes everything, so you can get shields when you have this low amount of HP. So if you want to, you can run around with a Frostwolf weapon and Skarn Lantern and have like 25 HP and 1200 shield. But again, this is another thing that you really can't run Revenant with. And if you want to use the cell with Iceborne, as it's intuitive that you want to heal back that damage you're taking, it is worth noting that you might drop down to a lower amount of HP anyway, with Axe being the main exception. High enough damage on the Axe will keep you about 1000 HP or higher. But the faster hitting weapons are going to have less lifesteal per hit, and seeing as this cell does damage per hit, you're basically not going to have a ton of HP with this cell even if you use Iceborne. But this cell kind of brings you back to the days of low life discipline wild frenzy builds. And no, if you're wondering, it does not take away Predator. And our last cell is going to take away your shields, but it will give you a pretty strong damage source in return. Earth is a power cell, and with it, if you ever go above 200 shields, they will explode. And it will do damage as it explodes. How much damage depends on the strength of the cell. At +3, it will explode for 2 times the shield, and at +6, it will explode for 4 times the shield. And when you're at +6, when it explodes, you'll gain 100 shields back immediately. And this is item type damage, so it will only be affected by the difference in power between you and the behemoth, meaning it won't benefit from any of your other damage bonuses. And for this cell, you're going to need 3 things: a high damage Bastion build, the Skarn Lantern, and the Aether Drive Tonic. This seems to just always deal core damage to the behemoth, never hitting an actual part. It's decent, you'd probably get more damage from Galvanized anyway, and it's nowhere close to competing with Revenant. But I would say it can be better than Tempest in lower power levels when you're playing off meta, but it doesn't feel really strong. In other news, let's talk hunt passes. If you're considering making any premium purchases, consider using my supporter creator code TheMrTrails. Make sure the A is before the I. The commission pass will be the same one as 1.13, which is running through the 1.14 patch, but the cosmetic hunt passes are changing. The Barbaric Fury Hunt Pass will be featuring cosmetics from the Krolaki Warlords Hunt Pass, and the Ostian Enforcers Cosmetic Pass will be featuring the cosmetics from the Ostigard Justice Hunt Pass. These passes were originally released in the fall and winter of 2021, and in the reward cache we have the Monk gear, including the Seekers and Masters armor sets, as well as the weapons that came with them. And finally, we have some miscellaneous news. Phalanx, Alira, and Frostwolf will now have interrupts drops on their mastery cards. The reduce, the reuse, and the recycle cells will all be available in cell cores when this patch goes live, and the trials reset time is being changed to what is currently 10 a.m. PT like it should be, though daylight savings time is this Sunday, so I'm not sure if they're going to change it back or if it's going to become 11 a.m. PT after that. But anyway, that's everything major in the 1.13.3 update. I think we can all agree that 20 level XP banks are a game changer. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you for watching. Once again, drop a like for me, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I have been Trevor. I go by TheMrTrails, and I will catch you guys next time.